racist, and basically, if you actually read the book, you realize no, that's not at all what that was about. But in order to avoid that kind of thing, he just focused his comparison on two societies here, both Caucasian, so that no one was going to yell at him for anything he said and saying he was a racist. So that was his defense. By the way, he's the one that was supposed to speak at Middlebury College, and the students protested and even ended up hurting the neck of the professor that was associated. So it was one of those examples of where they wouldn't let him speak. But in this book, he points out that there are four main characteristics of success in society. First one is that people get married and stay married. Second one is that they go to church every week. Doesn't matter which church, because the main thing is the networking with the community and the realization that you're part of the community and that people need one another, etc. The third one is honesty. Society has collapsed if people aren't honest with one another. And the fourth one is that they're industrious, that they work hard and do things. So a very interesting book, by the way. But for Aristotle, there are good characteristics of every art, every inquiry. So Plato's wrong in thinking that there's one specific kind of good that everything's aimed at. Instead, you can't define good as the thing in something or part of the event that makes it good. There's something else going on that's linguistic. And so that's, of course, the beginnings of this. So this is very practical, very down-to-earth, pragmatic, you might say. So trying to figure out all the different kinds of good and so on. But I have to also mention, his works are dense, they are impenetrable. Plato's works are considered good literature. No one studies Aristotle's texts as part of a literature class. They're much more like textbooks. Part of the reason for that is because it may be that the works that were more like Plato got lost. In fact, there are folks that refer to works of Aristotle that are beautiful dialogues. Well, we don't have any of them. What we do have seems to be more students' notes or teachers' notes of what he was saying. So it reads more like a very densely packed description of things. So the quiz question I asked for today is, how do you raise a good child? Because he's in the Nicomachean Ethics. He's going to be very concerned with ethica. Ethica means character. So the idea of the character, the ethica of a person is the focus on this. And of course what he means is, how do you develop the best character? Not only in yourself, but also in your family. And it's very important for him that children are raised in a good family. If the family is a mess, you're going to have a very poor result probably with the children, right? And if the family is a good family, but they're living in a really screwed up society, they're not going to be able to do as good a job. So you need a good society, a good community that will enable to help a family do its job, and so on, right? So you'll see where this all goes. Very good stuff. There's a American philosopher who's actually Scottish, but they've called him American, and that's Alasdair MacIntyre, who is on my list, by the way. Alasdair MacIntyre argues that the best kind of ethics is Aristotelian ethics for our society, for our day. Because as we'll look at the different kinds of ethics that are out there, because of the conflicts between all the different kinds of ethics and the ethical systems that are available to us, the only one that really makes sense for Americans is a focus on the self. Eudaimonia, Aristotle calls it. And you'll see that doesn't mean that you say the heck with everybody else, but you at least focus on your own excellence. How can you be as excellent as possible? I'll quit at that point. So, is this fun? We're covering a mountain of stuff, like just like not even skiing across the top. So,
do you happen to remember the quiz question of the last class?
Last class, the quiz question was, I've been answering this
I think it is, what is a true sentence?
What is a true sentence? And what I'm thinking, of course, is Aristotle's logic describes what's, sentences can be true or false. As people growing up with, all of our social media and all these people, these voices who are untrained voices, they haven't studied logic, and they're yelling back and forth at one another, you get a culture that is basically not logical. Yelling that so-and-so has lied. In other words, they didn't tell the truth. Well, but the kind of statement that the person made wasn't a statement that could be true or false.
How long are you looking for these to be? Because I feel like the one that you asked today might, like, how specific?
It is up to you. It is up to you. Remember, I am trying to get people to immerse themselves.
I feel like that one's going to take a little bit to write.
Well, you don't have to tell me the whole you don't have to write a book. Although, if you want to, we could use it. Our society needs this kind of stuff. What's your question, sir?
Well, I said I wasn't here on Monday. I got snowed in, couldn't leave my house.
Well, that's terrible. Why did you do that?
Yeah, on Monday I had a flat tire that got froze onto my car, and so I missed every class on Monday trying to get it off.
There was, my neighborhood still hasn't really been plowed, but I wasn't going to miss another day of school.
I just got in my car and drove, and eventually the car got warm enough that I could see, and it turned out that the roads, were okay for, I have an Audi, which,
They're actually not that bad. Usually they're much worse.
It's the neighborhoods that are hard right now.
I left this morning and the same thing. I couldn't really see. It's just gradually spreading, and so I kept realizing, hey, I'm on the left side of the road, and I'm coming up on the berm over here. So I crept over the other side, and I realized, wait, the berm is over here. Yeah, this road isn't plowed yet.
You make these wonderful things called ice scrapers. If you're having
I have one, but it doesn't work unless I do it, and that's the problem. Because then I have to and I'm like, why? If I just sit in the car and wait long enough, it'll all go away.
Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for getting out of the snow.